and welcome to the first episode of One Season Wonders. I am Jay. I am joined, of course, by Steve. Steve, how the hell are you?
Steve's doing pretty good. You know, before we start recording, Steve was contemplating doing like the intro. So like, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I'm just not cut out for that, fam. I just don't have a good presentation voice. You know, this feels like your thing, you know?
It's my job. It's literally, I'm up there presenting stuff all day.
Yeah, that's true.
I clock in. Actually, I try to avoid it, right? Because if I'm up there talking, they're not listening. So
yeah,
I just try to cut as much of that out as possible so they can actually get stuff done.
Yeah.
Which is like, sometimes I take advantage of the fact that they don't listen though, and I'll just like say some crazy stuff. And then they'll kind of have a moment where they're like, did he just like, I'll be like, all right, folks, like, you know, let's start working on stoichiometry so that we know how to like successfully make medicine after the climate apocalypse collapses society. And they'll be like, huh? And I'll be like, yeah, don't worry. It's fine.
Oh, now you listen. I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the kids a few weeks ago was like, we were talking about thermal conductivity. She was like, when are we going to use this in the real world? And I was like, well, when society collapses and you're trying to figure out whether or not to cook a squirrel on a piece of corrugated tin or a piece of concrete, you're really going to need to know this stuff about thermal conductivity so that you don't get, you know, like a disease from undercooked squirrel meat. And she was like, what? And I was like, just do your homework. Like, stop talking to me.
because yeah, I went to visit my family my brother's family for Thanksgiving. And they're really big on the whole, like, give your kid a reason why you're like, not because I told you so thing. Yeah. But so my dad's version of because I told you so was it's written, that's why, which is just like a Monty Python reference.
I love that.
Which I started saying that shit so much to my nephew while I was there for over 3 days. I must have said it 100 times, just like completely subconsciously, just pouring it out.
I think if I had one kid, I would probably use that philosophy.
Yeah.
But as a person with 120 kids, I just can't. And but I tell them every time I hit them with it because I told you so, I'm always like, or because I said so, I'm always like, look, I get it. When I was a kid, I hated because I said so. But let me tell you, when you turn 18, all of a sudden, your opinion on because I said so is going to change very quickly. So just know that I understand your frustration, and yet it is still necessary for me to just say because I said so.
Yeah. I did mess up a couple times though with my nephew because like very early on, like the first day, I was just like, I like mimed a leg kick on him, and he kicked me back, and I just like, you know, and I start talking to him about like, oh, you got to check it, like you got to check the leg kicks.
This is acceptable uncle behavior.
So he just started kicking me constantly, and then like kicking other things, and I was just like, okay,
nice.
Listen, there's a very specific context in which I want you to do this kicking thing, and your dad's gonna be real upset if he knows that I did this. So I need you to funnel that down to just me when nobody's looking. Okay, can you just do that?
I love that.
He's 5? Do that. Yeah.
That's peak 5-year-old interaction there.
Yeah. Peak like, oops, I accidentally created a bad habit instantaneously. My bad. I didn't mean to.
So, One Season Wonders is... I'm sorry, unless you had anything else. I realized that we said One Season Wonders, but we haven't actually introduced what we're doing.
That's true. We should introduce like the show concept.
It's pretty simple. I feel like it's probably pretty contextual from the name, but One Season Wonders is a new series that we here at Double Action Hour are going to be launching, where we are going to watch a series of a television show that only lasted for one season, and then we are going to pitch what a season 2 could have looked like. And we're going to apply this to good shows. We're going to apply it to bad shows. We're going to apply it to medium shows.
Yeah.
we're gonna give it to a few different things. And we are not stopping our what do we call it? I guess just calling it Forza Unleashed.
Yeah, we're not stopping our TEW save. I might start uploading these before I finish uploading the TEW stuff.
Oh, okay.
I might
Okay.
not. I'm not sure. We'll find out. But rest assured, like 3 people who commented, like, I love this show. Like, I appreciate it. That's not the end of TEW. We will circle back to it.
We got a bunch of stuff we want to do. And by a bunch of stuff, I mean exactly these 2 things. And then we'll figure out more stuff later.
Yeah.
But at some point, we're going to watch all of Supernatural. And at some point, we're going to watch all of Smallville. Those are 2 things that are going to happen. Yeah. And those do not fit into One Season Wonders at all.
I was actually thinking maybe we could maybe we could save ourselves some time, because for quite a while they were on the same night back to back. So we could do like a thing where maybe we start
a twofer.
Yeah, maybe we start with Smallville, and then once Supernatural like premieres in real time, we start like. So I think it's season 4 or season 4 of Smallville, or season 5 of Smallville is when Supernatural starts. Used to be on Tuesdays.
How long was Smallville? Was it like 9 seasons?
Smallville was 10. Supernatural was 15. So Supernatural went for quite a ways after Smallville did, but yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Well, we'll get to that when we get to that. But for our first season of One Season Wonders, we are talking about the thing that really kind of was the genesis of this series in the beginning, which was Firefly. So Firefly is a show that I'm sure a lot of people are already aware of. It's a show with a huge cult following, one of an early kind of Joss Whedon project, something that Steve was very surprised to hear that I had never watched, because I am definitely I'm not the target audience, but I'm not out of the target audience either.
Yeah, it's definitely.
How would you describe?
How would I describe?
You're about to do it.
Oh,
the show.
Oh, the show. I would just. This is I think this kind of like. This was the most literal adaptation of like space western I think anybody had seen up until probably The Mandalorian, which is even more of a space western. It's actually like, we'll get into it with the episode, but it's like actually kind of like remarkable how on the nose it is with some of the stuff it does. But it just became this whole like this sort of like wave of popularity. I don't know how popular it was right when it came out, but somewhat famously, the Fox network aired the episodes out of order and then like moved the schedule around, and it was kind of dealt a bad hand before it was canceled anyway. Eventually, enough like fan response, they drummed up enough interest for a movie, which was only a couple years after this one ended. It's kind of cool. And part of the fun of this, of course, is I've seen all of Firefly. I've also seen the movie. So what we're going to do is we're going to get through this season of Firefly, and then Jay's going to pitch his second season, or he might, maybe you pitch the movie. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then breaking our formula before we even implement the formula. I like it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Firefly is a very specific thing,
No, I'm cool with it. Like, I think it's a good idea.
And then and then we'll watch Serenity, and we can get to see like how on the ball Jay's predictions were / hopes. And then maybe then we'll do like a reunion show, like a current follow-up pitch or something like that.
Here's something that I'm really excited about for this series specifically, which is a lot of the stuff that you've seen that I haven't is stuff that I still have like a high cultural awareness of. Yeah. Like Alien, for example. I saw Alien for the first time last month. Was it last month or 2 months ago?
Yeah.
And I loved it, by the way. I thought it was amazing. But I already knew everything that was going to happen in it before I saw it. And weirdly enough, like, even though the kind of cult following that Firefly had was really a part of the crew that I was rolling with back in high school. Like, I was into all, like, if I wasn't watching whatever like nerdy thing it was, like my friends were watching that too. So as a result, like I got a lot of like exposure by osmosis to like anime and like web comics and stuff like that, and like all kinds of other random stuff that I didn't necessarily see myself, but that I kind of gained an awareness of.
Yeah.
But somehow Firefly has, even though I've been aware of it for a long time, the only thing I knew was the name and like the premise of like it's about the crew of a spaceship, and I don't really know anything else about the universe or the lore or anything like that. So it was really exciting for me to actually get to watch this first episode and have zero background on what I was about to see, which is something that I feel like is so rare these days. So that was really cool.
Yeah, I was very curious about that as I was kind of watching. It was the first time in a while I'd watched any of these, and it was definitely like I'm watching it now, essentially thinking like, I wonder what GA sees here, like what details are sticking out to you and stuff, and like and how much stuff you had knowledge of beforehand, and that's kind of what this season will be all about.
Yeah, like in the same way as like no, what's like the best comparison for this of like another situation where maybe the best comparison for something that we've done here on the podcast is probably season 4 of Lucha Underground, where
Yeah.
like I knew about some of like the plot details and I knew who like the last champion was and stuff like that and all this other stuff, but actually watching it, like that was something where watching it was not much of a transformative experience because I already knew a lot of the context going in. So
Yeah.
I have to say, I was very impressed by this first episode, and I'm excited to jump into it. Do you want to get the ball rolling for us?
Yeah, so we actually we start the show with a flashback to this big, I was going to say intergalactic, but one of the crucial parts of the lore, it's not intergalactic. It's interplanetary civil war between what we have as sort of like the core planets of this solar system and then the outer rim of this solar system. I think it's the war for independence or whatever. The independents are the brown coats. We're introduced to 2 of our main characters in Sergeant Malcolm Reynolds and then Zoe, whose last name I don't remember off the top of my head, actually.
I don't remember either. They just call her Zoe in that in the flashback, I think.
Yeah. But and they kind of go through every war movie stereotype in about 6 minutes. It's kind of it was funny. It would catch me and I'd be like, I'm in, and then it would be like, this is kind of funny, and then it would catch me again. And it'd be like I was sort of in and out during this, watching it back. I'm curious what your impressions of this were. Also, like, damn, that 2002 budget, like.
Yeah, the 2002 budget went crazy. I actually thought it was pretty impressive with like how it was done. Right away, I just enjoyed the vibe, like the look, the weapon design, the way that the ships are a little janky because the ships are all CGI, but they still are kind of like, it's fine. I'm kind of like a nerd. I don't know if you guys know this about me.
Mm-hmm.
And so one thing that I really love is, well, I actually, you know what? I'll get into this after the flashback because it doesn't really come up as much here. But yeah, I mean, it was fun. It was splashy. It gave kind of like a look of, Mal, as we will come to know him, is like he's a real Han Solo type, and he's a scoundrel with a heart of gold. He's not afraid to fight a little dirty, but he's like a good dude, and that's what we got to see here. And then there was that, it was good stuff.
It's good stuff. I always think of the last shot of this flashback, which is Mal watching the ships of the Alliance coming down, and like just the sort of almost feels like a death of innocence kind of thing, and that's sort of like this is the birth of the Mal that we see later on throughout the show, basically. Right. And it's like, it's cool that we get to see like this. It's the inciting incident essentially for the show, but it's just like, this is the moment that defines kind of the entire character. And also the Battle of Serenity, I should mention, is what it's called.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Okay. And is that why the ship is also called that?
Serenity?
Okay.
Yeah.
I did not pick up on that.
Yeah.
One thing that I want to mention on that kind of like death of innocence moment is we get to see that when the thing that happens right at the beginning is Mal and his group are outgunned. he calls for air support, and he thinks what ends up being the Alliance ships is he thinks his air support, and he's like, he kind of has this moment of like, we're gonna win this. Like, we just took out that fighter with the big gun. Now we've got our air support coming in. Like, the tide is turning, and as he feels that way, that's when he looks out and sees the Alliance ships coming down. He's like, so it's like this big swelling of hope, and then that gets absolutely crushed.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of leads into that really poignant moment right at the beginning of the flashback, or right at the end of the flashback.
Yeah, and it kind of reminds me of the there's those alternate universe Star Wars comics that start with what if Luke failed to destroy the Death Star?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like he hits it, and like I think it just like hits the side of the port or something. It doesn't blow up the Death Star, and it still blows up. No, it weakens the Death Star, so when it fires on the base, it doesn't completely eradicate the planet, but like just that like moment of Luke being like, "Oh, shit!" Like, we then cut into the theme song. "You Can't Take the Sky From Me" being the main like, and I was like, this is probably why the game is called No Man's Sky. Like, this idea of like the air being a place of solace where it's like, oh, nobody can touch me when I'm flying my spaceship thing. I was like, that might have started here. Like
that. Yeah. I mean, and it is, I did think of it as well later.
Yeah.
There's a part where Mal says it's getting crowded in my sky.
Yeah.
And I was like,
wait a minute.
Just a little bit of No Man's Sky brain on us right now. But
yeah,
I mean, they also do, what I will say is there are some logs in No Man's Sky, like when you get to like some of the where do you get those from? The base computer missions, where you get some of the archives from the base computer that give you kind of like the origins of the first traveler, that have a lot of parallels to that kind of language. So I think there probably is some inspiration there.
Yeah. I did also realize I think there are some spoilers in the opening credits as far as like shots and stuff from this premiere. I didn't know if any of that stuff.
Oh yeah, I was like,
yeah.
The part where when they go down to Whitefall and like there's a shot of them in the opening credits of them on Whitefall with their guns drawn. Yeah. And then when they get to Whitefall and they're wearing those outfits and we have that background, I was like, oh, okay. Like, so this is not going to end well. Got it.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Yeah.
But that was the only thing that I picked up on.
Yeah.
Oh, and Summer Glau's character, of course.
Yeah.
But I already kind of knew about that. That was the only other thing that I kind of knew, because you've talked. Yeah. That's the only thing that you've told me about this show. It's like Summer Glau can't be in a TV show that lasts more than one season.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, a law broken by the, Arrow. But I think she didn't last more than one season on Arrow, so I don't know. I think it still holds up.
It still works. Yeah.
So we cut from here, and we cut forward a sort of, I think it's an indeterminate amount of time, or it might be 5 years. I'm not sure.
It's 6 years.
6 years. And we see Mal, we see Zoe, and we see some new characters of the crew that we're being introduced to in Jane and Wash. Wash being the pilot, Jane being kind of the hired muscle. And they're doing basically a illegal salvage job. And this is really a lot of just like, this is what a normal day looks like for these outlaws. They almost get caught by the feds. There's a lot of conflict between the different members of the crew. We learn that Wash and Zoe are married, and that's like a big like dynamic in the thing, in the show. Yada. A lot of stuff happens in this episode, which is another thing I picked up on watching. I was like, holy crap, they are getting every element of this show is pretty much in this premiere.
It is a 90-minute premiere. So like, yeah,
they squeeze it all in there. They ditch the Alliance, although the Alliance sends like an APB out on them. And they go to this docking town where they meet Badger. And Badger, in an indeterminate time, you will become very familiar with because he becomes a Borderline series regular on Supernatural for some like 10 odd years.
That's fun. Okay.
Yeah. He plays a demon named Crowley. Yeah. And you'd be like, why is a demon on the show for 10 years when they fight demons? Shouldn't they kill him before that time comes up? And I would say, yeah, supernatural, right? But anyway, basically he's like, he screws them over on the deal because the goods that they got were branded. They had like Alliance logos on them. So they were essentially like, they're hot, basically.
So on that real quick.
Yeah.
They pull a little bit of a bait and switch on us, right?
Yeah.
Because the goods look like they are some kind of valuable mineral. They are like rectangular, shiny.
They kind of look like copper bars. Yeah.
They kind of but they're a little more like they've got also kind of like a little bit of like a purplish hue. Like they're a little more got like a little more of like a glittery effect. So I think we're definitely meant to think that they are some kind of valuable material, like if this is like their gold or whatever, and they've got that Alliance stamp on them. So I think like in the same way that you could stamp like an ingot of metal with a logo. Not to jump too far ahead, this is my only nitpick with the episode.
Yeah.
Is it turns out that these are kind of like rations, like they are like some kind of super nutritious food stuff that you can survive on for a long time, and the shiny exterior is actually just the wrapper.
Yeah.
Like, so why is it just take them out of the wrapper?
Yeah, it's not the most
unless there's
I mean you could head
no
canon
stamp on the
you could head canon that there's some sort of like maybe there's like an isotope on them or something that whatever.
Okay.
I don't know.
That was the only, really the only thing in this whole episode. That's not true. The only thing in like the plot of this whole episode that I thought was a little silly. There were some, for those of you that don't know, the show was made by Joss Whedon.
Yeah.
There's one or two like Joss Whedon moments that I found a little silly that I will comment on as we go. But everything else I really enjoyed.
I think the Southern accents kind of subdue him a little bit. It's not quite Buffy, but like, it leaks through quite a bit. So they can't sell to Badger, so they make this plan. One thing they're going to do is they're going to take on passengers, which is an element that I thought was just kind of cool as like a sci-fi idea that like you would just like charter spaceships for like pilgrims, essentially. Among them, we have a shepherd, shepherd book. We have mysterious rich guy with glasses, Simon.
Evil glasses.
And other guy. Anyway, it is funny that go. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go for it. Oh, I was gonna say they go through a lot of effort to like misdirect us with Simon, but give us absolutely zero effort for other guy to make us. You know what I mean?
But I kind of like that though, because the only thing they do for other guy is like he's like clumsy, like he keeps like tripping over stuff in the ship. Yeah. But I thought that was kind of fun because I immediately didn't really. I was like, oh, he's just here to kind of like round out, because I saw in the credits that Simon and Book stick around.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, like it would be weird if the first group of passengers they have all become main characters on the show. So we have like someone else here to just kind of like round out the numbers so it doesn't seem like that odd. And I like how they kind of got me with that,
Yeah. This scene is also like when we're kind of introduced to the sort of like weird cultural blending that has gone on in this universe.
Yes.
I want to so the pitch is when they do make, I think, like one reference to Earth that was where it's not like a mystery or anything. They just kind of like explain it through happenstance throughout the thing, so I don't feel bad. But essentially the idea is once Earth kind of went to shit and they found another solar system filled with stuff they could terraform, the only countries that had enough money to send people on this journey were China and America, so they just kind of bled together. How that explains British Badger, I don't really know, but that's the idea.
You always got to have an annoying British person in your
Yeah,
television show.
and his little bowler hat. Yeah.
There were a few things about this that I really liked. So I love like historiography and like
Yeah.
looking at fiction works of fiction that like come from specific periods of time and being like, okay, like what does this tell us? And I thought it was so cool that we see this like outsized like a future where there's such a large Chinese cultural influence in
Yeah.
made in 2002, which is a time where like there was so much kind of like China is on the rise, like China is going to take over the world.
Yeah.
Like that was kind of like the big narrative at that time. And
Yeah.
I think it's cool to see how that impacted space fiction. Like, oh,
Yeah.
well, in the future, everyone's going to speak Chinese. And so in my space show, everyone's fluent in Chinese. Like that's just like
Yeah.
a thing. And I like that's such a neat detail because that has faded into the background so hard over the
Yeah.
past like 15 years. Like no one really talks about that anymore.
Yeah.
But I remember like when I was in middle school, like people were still talking, like people were still really worried about like Chinese industrial takeovers. Like, so I
Yeah.
thought that was so neat. And I thought it was a really interesting, it was really interesting to see the ways in which different elements of like Chinese culture, be that like language or dress. And I know that some of it is like a little cultural appropriation-y, but I still thought it was fun.
Yeah.
Like kind of bleed into this like Western backdrop. Those two ideas connected were very appealing to me.
Yeah. You will notice a weird lack of Chinese people, however, as the show goes on.
Yeah.
But you know, what are you gonna do? Hire Chinese
What are you
people?
gonna do?
Absolutely not.
Oh, you forgot. We also get introduced to my least favorite character, Kaylee.
Oh, Kaylee. Yeah. So Kaylee is the ship's mechanic, and she is full of youth and whimsy. That is the Kaylee character. Very much the like, this is the heart of the crew character.
The annoying little sister type.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah.
And she is annoying. That is certainly
That's true.
yes.
That's true.
I agree with that.
Yeah. So, yeah, she's got this like. I did think the bit with her in book where he's like, well, I could pay you this much plus I have this, and we find out later what's in the box. I thought that was still fun.
Yeah.
A little weird but fun.
I'm going to talk about that. Don't worry, I wrote that down.
Yeah. So as you go from here. So as they make way, they find out that somebody. Well, we get like a brief introduction to everybody. We
also meet Inara at this point.
Oh yes, true. The companion. This is another like, wow, what an interesting choice for the show to just throw this in here. So Inara is a companion, which is a legal escort, and kind of like works with like extremely wealthy people, and they make a point on the show of like what Inara does is a lot of planets let them come aboard because they have a high value companion with them. So it kind of opens up avenues of trade. Everyone seems to kind of think of this as a very glamorous job, with Mal being the only one who, like, he just repeatedly calls her a whore. And it's like, he's like the only one who still has like an old timey problem with it, even including the shepherd, which I found like, what a weird, I mean, it's clearly like, oh, he's compensating for jealousy essentially, but like,
yeah,
like it is funny that like that's something you would have expected them to give to like Jane or something, where it's like, Jane's the close-minded guy who doesn't get it. But like, no, it's Mel.
I like Jane, by the way. I initially thought I was not going to like him, but I find his characterization interesting. Like,
yeah,
he's a good enough. He's like a more seedy version of Mal.
Yeah,
he's not like, they don't go too far into making him like, oh, he's a bad guy. Like he's mean. He is very mercenary, But he's still like a normal, like he still has like empathy. Like he's not like, I like that because sometimes
Yeah.
but it's not like he really has a heart of gold. Like he's just like a normal douchebag kind of guy. Like,
Yeah, he's
and I
like,
like that.
yeah, he's a piece of shit, but like he has emotions. It's like,
Right.
yeah,
But not in a way where like they're trying to make it like a thing. Like it's not like,
yeah,
oh, there's a soft underside. Like no, he's just like a guy. Like in
yeah,
a way that I really believe. So I thought that was kind of
yeah,
novel because I thought he was going to be really grating at first as like the guy who was just too tough or whatever. But that was fine.
yeah. And it's a very fine line that we ride throughout the show of like, Jane has to be useful enough so that his constant, like, sort of like issues with the chain of command don't be like, why is this guy on the ship? Like, oh, that's why he's on the
Right.
ship. Yeah, they do a really good job with that, even like just in this episode of like, oh, that's why Jane is here. But yeah, so we get introduced to all these characters. We have dinner. We learn that Mal is very anti-religious for pretty obvious reasons.
What
That
are the obvious reasons?
obvious reasons being that like he's just like he lost his faith when the alliance came
in the
like,
war. Yes.
yeah. And then we get this is also our first bit of so Kaylee starts kind of flirting with Simon a little bit, and Jane doesn't like that, and he lashes out in like an awful way. It's not that bad, but it's bad. It's if you were living with this person all the time and they made that joke, yeah, it's like Jesus Christ. Like within the context, yeah.
Yeah. But I that's one of the things where like, oh wow, this guy sucks. I like that he
Yeah.
sucks. You know,
Yeah.
it's not everyone has to be like a teddy bear.
Yeah.
Like that's horrible and crass. And I like that everyone was, I like that everyone was like, that's horrible and crass. Get the hell out of here. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, like this is great. Like we're not
Yeah.
like, this guy sucks, and everyone is like, that sucks. But he's not like, but also he's not like pure evil. He's just a guy that sucks, and I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah. He's a guy where if you met him at the
While we're on this topic, just the thing that we were both alluding to earlier, because before they serve dinner is where we see the strawberry orgasm. So it turns out that the box that Book brought aboard were fresh strawberries, which, as we've kind of already gotten hinted at in this episode, like real food is hard to come by. Like it's a lot of like, ultra processed like ration packs and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's
a
hard
lot
to
of
get
like protein
fresh
slop.
fruits and veggies.
Yeah,
exactly. And so the way that we're shown this is Kaylee bites into a strawberry, and we get this close up of her eating the strawberry. And it's like, however much you think she's excited about the strawberry,
yeah,
it's like twice as much. It's so like her eyes roll back in her head, and I don't think she does moan. I think that's the only thing she doesn't do is she doesn't moan.
yeah.
But it's too much. And I'm sure that was not the first take of that scene. Like, Whedon was like, no, I need more excitement about the strawberry.
Yeah.
It's pure bliss.
Yeah. The strawberry's got to do some things.
It was funny. It was stupid.
If you've heard the term
food
porn, this is what you should associate with the term food porn.
Yes, exactly.
Like this could have been a skit, like a parody of Firefly. Like that would be a bit that they do. But so get through dinner, and when everybody goes to bed, and Mal has made this thing where it's like, don't go anywhere in the ship unless, besides the kitchen, unless like you have a chaperone. Just for like policy reasons, but it's because they have smuggled cargo in the walls. But like he's, but they find out Wash picks up a signal being beamed to the Alliance from their ship. He blocks it, but he's like, I don't know how much got through. Somebody here is a mole, is the term they use. So they go down to the docking bay, and Simon, without supervision, is like messing around with his cargo, which I should have mentioned before. He had like a shiny cube, a very suspicious shiny cube that he brought with him.
Big shiny cube. Big shiny cube.
Big shiny cube. You could fit presumably, I don't know, maybe like 100 pounds in that thing, maybe 98.
Yeah.
So
very, very specific with the measurements there, Steve.
yeah, a little bit. I'm guessing. So he goes like, Mal immediately assumes it's like, oh, you must be the mole, punches him. It's like, how much do they know? I should mention Simon was asking a lot of questions about the Alliance, which is another aspect that, like, watching this back with retrospect, I was like, oh, this like really makes sense in the way that they frame it.
Yeah.
And like, oh, are you asking all these questions? Oh, I get it. You were suspicious. And he's like, I was suspicious. I thought you were suspicious. And it turns out that other guy is actually the Fed. And he is here.
Well, they do a double fake out because they have that interaction, and then Book comes in and he goes, "You've got the wrong man," and it's like, what? And then he like points, and then so we have the fake out of it not being Simon, and then it's like, is it Book? And then they all turn around to see the clumsy guy has a gun on them. It's like, okay.
Yeah. I also like that, like, it's the only gun in the thing that we've seen that just looks like a gun, just like a 9mm with like something on the end of it or something. Like, it's just, he just has a gun.
The guns look like guns with something on the end of it, though. I like that.
Yeah, Mal's gun is a little more unique. Yeah, that's true. Jane's gun is like just a revolver, and there's shotguns and stuff. Yeah. I guess I'm just like lying. Maybe I should say it's the only one. All the other ones feel like Western guns. His gun just looks like a gun. But anyway,
which makes sense because he's like from the Space Cops, and the Space Cops don't have that Western aesthetic. No. They're very Star Trek. So it works in that way.
Very city slickers. Yeah. So this is like, oh man, what are we gonna do? And there's this whole standoff where, like, so we find out that they're actually after Simon for some reason. And Mal's like, oh, thank God. And hilariously just goes, is there a reward? Which is great. His like ability to go from like brooding asshole to just like Bugs Bunny should be studied in a lab. Because he does that a lot.
It's the Fed totally screws himself because instead of just like going along with it, because obviously like the attitude of the crew completely changes.
Yeah.
When they hear that it's actually Simon who's in trouble.
Yeah.
The Fed then says, well, hold on, you're harboring a fugitive. That means you're in trouble too. Like, bro, you could have just not said that. And you like, if you would just withheld that piece of information, just been like, oh yeah, the Alliance is going to be super happy to have Simon. Like,
they would have turned themselves in if you just been like, oh yeah, just wait in this room for your reward. He'll be with you shortly. Yeah.
But instead, he's like, no, I'm going to arrest everybody on this ship. And then Mal's like, oh, okay, well, then I have to kill you.
Yeah. So there's the standoff, and then more people come in to be like, what's going on in here? It spooks the other guy. He turns and he shoots Kaylee, which is a big no-no.
I was like, yes, let's go. Only one episode of Kaylee. This is going to be fantastic.
It's like, oh, I get it. All right.
But she's the heart of the crew. They have to save her. Yeah, they have to save the heart of the crew.
She goes down. Simon, who it turns out really is a doctor, goes over there and he starts trying to work on her. Then they find out that the Alliance is coming, and Simon's like, well, you have to run. Like, don't just like turn me over to them or I won't save your crew member. Big standoff again. Farmhouse like, really? You're doing this? Which is an appropriate I think everybody reacted appropriately to this situation. Like, it's like, really? Jesus Christ. So we get there.
But then we get to I like that though, because we learn about that and it turns out like, oh wow, that actually seemed like an evil thing to do in the moment. It's fun how we get to recontextualize so many of Simon's initial suspicious or like unseemly behavior. Because looking back, it's like, no, that was actually the right thing to do, even though it seemed like it seems like he's acting out of self-interest, we don't know why he's acting. Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah. So they run. He operates on Kaylee. And afterwards, they're like, what is this even about? And I was like, well, one way to find out. And against Simon's wishes, he opens the pod. And there's a naked 16-year-old girl in there. Everyone assumes the thing, you know. Mal makes like several comments about like, oh, I think it stops when he says she's a little young, which is weird. Like somebody cuts him off before he says that part. But she wakes up and she clearly knows who Simon is, and it's a very like, I'm here now. This is his sister, as it's revealed, and that he has rescued her from somewhere. We then get like a pretty nice little monologue where Simon explains the whole situation. And I was like, damn, if I was still in theater school, this might be a monologue I go with. Where he says, I'm a very smart person, top of my class, yada, yada, yada. When I tell you my sister made me look like an idiot child, I hope you understand what that means. He talks about how like sort of like almost supernaturally gifted his sister was at everything academic and even dance, he mentions. Which Summer Glau was, I guess, a ballet dancer, which I think is why they kind of incorporated that into her character. And he's like, so the government comes and they say they have this special academy for her, and everybody at home goes, oh, buddy, oh no. And he goes, yeah, but they had the best program. She wanted to go. That was the last time I saw her. She was 14. Eventually I get a letter that's coded for a distress signal. It says they're hurting us. And then they're like, how'd you get her out? He goes, money, which I was like, pretty realistic, honestly. Pretty. So he spends essentially his family fortune getting his sister back through various means. And they sneak her out through.
Are they going to go into that more later? Yeah.
We see it. We do see it. I don't want to spoil when we see it. So
okay, don't tell me, please. I don't want spoilers.
It's a little different.
I will say
to
finally be able to go into something blind.
Yeah. So he talks about that, and okay, where do we go from here? Like I said, a lot of things happen in this episode. I'm not even sure we're in the second half of the episode yet.
Yeah, but I mean, the second half of the episode is the first half of the episode is like a lot of background. So the second half of the episode, I think, is going to take less time to go through. The only other stuff that I wanted to talk about was, the shepherd brings Inara dinner at one point, so they get to have like a little bit of like a bonding moment, and it's like, the preacher and the prostitute, what an unlikely pair of friends, but they're both like, they're both like wise and worldly, so it kind of makes sense. It's nice. And Book is older, if you guys don't know, so a lot of people on the show have been calling him grandpa, and he says, I never married, but it's like he's got years of wisdom and stuff like that, so he's our wise character. They've been talking about, because they weren't able to sell to Badger, they want to sell to this other,
Patience.
merchant, Patience. Yeah. And everyone keeps mentioning that Patience in the past shot Mal. And he's like, that's not even a big deal. So they're on their way now to go see Patience. But before we get there, we see Dobson talking to, which is the name of the Fed, talking to Jane. So Mal brings Jane to interrogate Dobson, leaves them alone. Jane is able to ascertain that they didn't actually, Dobson was not able to communicate any substantial information. Yeah. But Dobson's like, look, even though I wasn't able to get a lot of info out, but I'm willing, like, the Alliance is going to pay big money for this girl. And I'd love to get you on sides. And so we're kind of left with the hook of like, is Jane going to turn on Mal in order to get a huge payout from the Alliance?
Yeah. So on the way to Whitefall, we have an encounter with this ship, and they like, oh, there's this old ship coming up that they don't make anymore. What's that about? And they're like, oh yeah, that's weird. Oh, hey, it's like radioactive containment isn't on. Like they're all just being blasted with radiation. And we've actually had mention of them once before. These are what we call Reavers, which are sort of the like, they're a little bit space. They're space Mad Max. They're just,
I got a big like Fallout Raider kind of vibe.
Yeah, Fallout Raider. It's kind of like the like, oh no, the Apaches are coming to scalp us. It's a little bit of that too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah. If you look at like how this, yeah. um,
Is that going to be continued in how they're visually presented when we actually see them?
they're just, I think it's no, they don't have like a Native American like motif or anything.
Thank God.
Yeah, that'd be kind of wild, honestly, if they went full on.
Even for 2002, it'd still be
Yeah.
wild.
The spaceship comes by and it's just a giant peace pipe.
No! That's terrible.
But anyway, there's this. So the spaceship comes by and this is when Zoe tells Simon, she's like, "Yeah, they're Reavers," and Simon's like, "Reavers are like boogeymen." She's like, "Actually, no, they're real. And if they board the ship, they're gonna just do every horrible thing you could imagine in a Hellraiser movie." And he's like, "Okay, cool." So we see everybody kind of preparing for this. Like, this might be like it. Like, Inara like prepares what I'm assuming is just like an overdosed amount of drugs. Just,
Yeah.
like, it's like bad. But because they shut all their systems down, the Reavers don't see them and they pass right over them.
It's not even that. That's the thing that I found so. First of all, I loved this sequence.
Yeah.
The thing that Mal says is not. He's like, they know we're here.
Yeah.
We have to hope that they are not on the hunt right now. But he's like, if we run, they will chase us anyway. So we just have to keep going where we're going. We have to like not break eye contact with them. And if we don't make too big of a splash, they'll just leave us alone. Like it feels like there's a shark in the water, you know?
Yeah.
And hopefully it's already eaten. And they pass right under. So it's like the Reavers are aware of them. The Reavers are not like have not detected them. It's just that they have not done anything to draw the aggression of the Reavers. And I thought that was such a cool, like, it really added to the tension because it wasn't if the Reavers were going to detect them. It was if the Reavers decide to attack.
Yeah, if they feel it. Yeah.
Right, if they feel like it. And so, like, as the space is passing over, it's like they could do whatever they wanted right now. And I thought it was such good foreshadowing because they end up not attacking.
Yeah.
But we know that whenever we do have that conflict with the Reavers, it's going to be, like, it now feels like a really big deal.
Yeah. The Reavers are done really well throughout the show. And with, like, a lot of, like, I should say, not taste, they're good at like holding back. They're good at like, they don't just, it's not like episode 5. It's like, here's all the Reavers. This is all of it. This is the Reaver episode. You know, it's very.
Right.
But so we make it down to Whitefall, and they go out and they're like, okay, they have a call with Patience and they're like, she's like way too agreeable to their terms. So they're like, oh, cool. She's going to betray us because she didn't haggle. And so they try to anticipate this. They bury the loot somewhere. They have like a fucking 4-wheeler, which I like. And as they're doing this like exchange thing which is platinum, which is the thing they're selling it for, which I thought was fun. Back on the ship, Book goes to like, I think he goes to check in on Dobson or other guy. He gets whacked with was it a water ball, a wrench, something?
Some metal implement. Yeah.
Yeah. Not once. Like he hits him like 5 times with this thing after he's unconscious.
It was so messed up. So like, yeah, he Book opens the door to tell Dobson like, you're in danger. Yeah. Dobson whacks him with the wrench. Instant KO.
Yeah.
It's not even like heat of the moment. Dobson sits there for a moment and then he's like, you know what? Fuck this guy. And just bang, bang. Twice more straight in the dome. I was like, oh my God, you're going to brain damage my Shepard. What are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah. We didn't mention Shepard is the one that takes down Dobson with like a little old man kung fu. Why does the Shepard know old man kung fu, you might ask? Mysteries. And that's why Dobson has like a grudge on him.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah,
Still no. Okay, man. Like, still messed up. He didn't do that. He didn't beat you down for no reason. Paul cameo.
Paul cameo.
What's up, sir?
Okay. So the show's ruined. We're canceling it.
Okay, guys, we're shutting the whole thing down. We said one season wonders, but it's actually no season wonders.
Yeah.
We're going back to the TEW save started next week.
Yeah.
No, just kidding. So do you want to talk about what happens at the parlay with Patience?
Yeah. So at the parlay with Patience, we see them sort of preparing for the drop off, and we see sort of everybody's background coming in. Like Mal seems to know people. Zoe really gets like the tactics of it all, where she's like, oh yeah, they're going to set up snipers on that hill and on that hill to take us out. And they're like, you think they're already there? Probably. So they send Jane out. This is very Wolverine of like, Jane is very much the Wolverine of the group at this point, where they're just like, hey Jane, go out there and just beat the shit out of a couple snipers. And Mal's like, don't kill them though, because like we're here to make a deal, which is, it's a good way to soften your heroes and then like give it a reason. Like, why wouldn't you kill the snipers? Oh yeah, because we want to negotiate. It's like,
right.
It makes it believable that he wouldn't just kill them anyway, right? So we get that. There's a big thing where they have a little exchange. She's like, oh, do you really have the goods? He's like, yeah. Do you really have the money? Yeah. He gives them the coordinates for where they buried it.
Stupid headphones died.
All right.
There we go. Okay. My audio quality is probably going to be a little bit diminished for the rest of the episode, but whatever.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. So they make the exchange, the platinum for the coordinates to where all the food is buried. So, and then there's like this like great little like awkward silence where they're like, hey, can you leave first? It'd be nice. At which point Patience is like, nah, I think I'm going to turn on you. And they make some banter about like, oh, is that your best shooter? That guy with the thing, which signals Jane to kill that guy first.
We had some good tension during this scene as well because we didn't get a resolution on whether or not Jane was going to turn on Mal. So during this conversation, Jane is actually targeting, or he's looking at Mal through the scope. And so we kind of have a moment of like, oh, is Jane going to pop Mal instead and cash in on that reward? We'll see.
Yeah. Imagine if this whole show was just about Jane after betraying the crew. Like, we just follow Jane, just doing like every episode, he just ingratiates himself to another crew and then betrays them all.
Like, that sounds kind of fun.
Yeah, that does sound like maybe that could be the season 2. But yeah, so the whole thing, it's a big shootout. And classic like Mal-ism is that so Patience is like taking shelter behind her horse, and he just shoots the horse and it buckles over on top of her. And we see this thing where he's like, so we got this commentary from Badger earlier where he was like, oh, the fact that you're honorable not only gives you a disadvantage in this world of crime, but it like actively makes me dislike you because you can't stop judging people. And Mal is like, I don't know what you're talking about. But in this scene, we see him kind of get frustrated where he's like, I did a job. I just want to be paid for the job that I did. Like, it's just like, right. He's like, why can't we just do this?
Like, I'm not even like,
yeah.
He's like, I wasn't being unfair. I gave you like, I was super upfront. I said these things are stamped with Alliance stamps. I gave you a discount. Like,
yeah,
I performed my obligations 100%. Like, this is so frustrating.
Yeah, the no honor among thieves thing is really driving me a little crazy. So they get away, but at this point, back on the ship. Oh, also I should mention, like right as this shootout is wrapping up, we find out that the Reavers followed them to Whitefall. So it's like wasn't
and
as
Dobson
safe as
takes
possible.
River hostage. These things are all happening at the same time.
Same time. Oh, thanks. So it's like, oh shit, we got to haul ass back to the ship so we can get out of here. And as they do that, this is all happening in like the cargo loading bay with taking River hostage and everything. And so Mal just shows up and shoots him immediately. Like it's a good
Without breaking stride, just dome
like
them.
Han shot first, and like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And Book, who is sort of like taking responsibility for this man's life, is like, well, shit, man. Like, but they get away from the Reavers doing some cool. This is where we establish essentially that Wash is like just a really good pilot. They do some cool pilot shit. Managed to make their escape. The one thing I realized we didn't really talk about is like River herself, like after she wakes up, because there's not a lot of like plot stuff that happens regarding that, but like she actually, before we get into that, just like your thoughts on sort of like the finale.
Cool. Very tense, you know, like we've got the conflict with Patience, the conflict with the Reavers, and the conflict with Dobson all happening at the same time. And so I was really got the adrenaline pumping, which is pretty cool. And I just thought it was done really well. I think everyone was characterized really well. It was cool.
Yeah. It was cool, but I just want to say
the only thing, honestly, I kind of hoped the Reavers hadn't come back in this episode, because I thought it was so effective to have that tease earlier, that having them then get a win over the Reavers. But at the same time, I get that this is the pilot, so like they have to do some like bombastic stuff to kind of like make it stick. So I see both sides of it. In a perfect world, I would have left the Reavers out of the finale, because I think that having like the conflict with Patience and the conflict with Dodson was enough, and having the threat of the Reavers loom for a later conflict was more exciting.
Yeah.
But the other thing, I really like how they characterized, we don't get to see the inside of the Reaver ship, but as it's coming down into atmosphere, we see that they're like flying super erratically, like as they come down and they like cut their sublight engines, their ship basically like does a full forward roll before they like kick on their like in atmosphere engines, which I just thought was like, these guys just do not value their lives. And I thought that was really interesting.
It's just just Leroy Jenkins all the time.
It's impressive to be able to characterize them so effectively without us actually being able to like see people, but just seeing the movement of their ship was like I was like, wow, I can like tell so much about this faction just by looking at how they behave from outside their vehicle, which is like cool.
Yeah. Yeah, their vehicle itself also looks a little Mad Maxy. It's got like harpoons and like blood paint or something on it. Like how does that survive entry into atmosphere? How's that work? Does that not get washed off?
Maybe it's like under some sort of protective layer, or maybe they've got like shielding or something. I don't know how that works.
Yeah, that makes sense. But everybody gets away. We get a couple like sort of like closing moments. We get a thing with Booker and Inara where Booker is like really having a crisis of faith, because he's like, I've been out on the frontier for like 3 days, and I'm part of a pirate crew essentially, and I watched a man die. He's like, this kind of sucks. And he's like, I don't know if I should be here. And she's like, oh, maybe you need to be here. And we get this silhouette shot. And I honestly, watching this back, I thought this was a little much, where she's like standing over him and she's like gently caressing his head in silhouette. And it's very like, they had the idea for the shot before they wrote the scene, is like kind of what it felt like. A couple scenes like that. We get a bit of a resolution with Mal and Jane, where Mal's like, I know you're constantly thinking about betraying me. Do we have to deal with that right now? And Jane's like, I guess not right now. You know, like, which is a dynamic that is like, it's like, is today the day, Jane? Like it feels like that's the conversation. And then circling back to River, we get some stuff with River throughout the episode. I gotta say, all we know is that they quote unquote did something to her brain, so she's just completely erratic. I gotta say, Summer Glau is really good at playing freaked out of her fucking mind. Like, this girl who I don't know what her acting credits were before this, but she is losing it. Like,
I've got lots of experience as playing psychedelic drug users.
Yeah.
Someone who's like not completely here,
Yeah.
and and really struggling to deal with conflict.
Yeah.
It was good. Very cool episode. Definitely made me want to watch the rest of the show.
Yeah, I was actually like, I had to like kind of stop myself from watching episode 2 right away. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I should pace this out a little bit. Um, I did think it was funny. You were like, are we just gonna do the whole season today? Is that the plan?
No, yeah, because I was like, if we're doing the whole season today, I can't do the whole season today. I'm gonna have to wait
Yeah.
until like 2 weeks from now.
Yeah. But
I wasn't because I wasn't sure just like what format, but yeah, we could not. If we started doing a whole season, like it would be rough when we got to Power Rangers. Spoiler alert for when we get to Power Rangers.
yeah.
I'm
We
not
might do
trying
those.
to-
Maybe
I
maybe
love
we
Power
do
Rangers.
those in like 2 or 3 episode blocks. Maybe that's how we do Power Rangers.
Maybe
Because they do have longer
because
seasons.
they're so
right?
short.
Yeah.
They do it.
I will say, one of the things that I've had kind of in my brain for a long time is that like, oh, the show is so cheap. The show is not cheap. Just like the sets they build, like
Oh,
the actual ship
beautiful.
itself is like, holy, like that's like a cinema quality set. Like it's really
Yeah.
good and really
It
well
was
designed.
remarkable. I
just
mean,
like,
and that was one of the big problems. Like I was taking a look at like I was like, why did
Yeah.
they cancel this? And as you said before, like airing the episodes out of order, bad time slot, and then just expensive as hell to make. Apparently,
yeah. The what was I gonna say? Oh yeah. Just like I really like the geography of the ship. Like I know where everything on the ship is
right?
in a way that like I don't even know with the Millennium Falcon. Like I don't really know. You know what I mean? Like what goes on outside that cockpit? I don't know. Yeah. Like they
That's
show
what I like
a
about
little
it. That's
bit.
the whole point
Yeah.
of that's what Knights of the Old Republic did. Knights of the Old Republic was like, you always wanted to know what the Millennium Falcon looks like. Right here, this is it. Walk around the Millennium Falcon for 2 games.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I mean the Ebon Hawk.
Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy. It's like 6,000 years and then none of the starship design has changed like at all. Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
Isn't it like I think it's like 10,000? No, wait, maybe it is 6,000.
I don't know how many thousand years it is. It might be 10,000.
How many? No, because it from Bane to prequels, it's 1,000 years.
Yeah.
And from I thought it was 6,000 years from Revan to Bane.
Maybe. I'm not sure.
I'm gonna this little side thing. I'm just gonna look this up right now.
Revan won't go to heaven. It's just another lost soul in a dimension. I forgot there's one dialogue quirk in this that it's something I never picked up on until I saw it like montage together. And it happens in this episode, and I'm curious to see if you'll pick up on it as it goes on. It's something that Mal does a lot when they have dialogue scenes. And not just like the general like rhythm of the dialogue. It's a lot of I think like I don't know. There's like it's a real rhythm to all the dialogue that's fun, but like something beyond that where it's like, oh, this is how you guys do a lot of this version of this scene.
Right.
Yeah.
I liked it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really know. I think that's kind of all my thoughts on it for now. You know, like really solid start. Do you have anything else you want to say before we jump into Firefly Rex?
Not particularly. What are you thinking for not Firefly Rex?
I've got something queued up. So this is something that I've just been like obsessed with lately. It is a YouTube video, and it is, I want to get the exact name right because I've been so into it. Where is... Okay. Have you ever seen Down the Rabbit Hole?
It sounds familiar.
It's a pretty good series by this YouTuber, Frederick Knudsen, but he came out with a video 2 years ago now. Wow. On EVE Online. And so it's like a history of the external and internal goings on of EVE Online, which is like a spacefaring MMO that I have not played. And the video is like 6 hours long, and it is like thrilling. It is so interesting to like see internal and external evolution of the Eve community. Because one thing that's really cool is because players who played Eve took it so seriously, there's a lot of melding of like goings on in the real world with goings on in the game. Like people would actually kind of deceive each other in the real world in order to get in-game advantages, which I find really interesting.
Say, is Eve the one where it like basically developed a real world economy?
Yes.
Yeah. It's wild. I remember hearing about that and being like, what? I'm terrified.
Yeah. It's crazy. So yeah, strongly recommend Eve Online Down the Rabbit Hole. That's what you should look at.
Very, very interesting. So my rec, so I went to a comic book store a couple weeks ago, which is the first time I've been in one in probably 10 years or something like that. It's like a half hour away, which is very annoying for me because I used to have one like 10 minutes away, and that was real nice. But I went there specifically to pick up the Deadpool Batman crossover, or more specifically the Batman Deadpool crossover. And the only covers they had were the Goon covers and then Gambit Robin. So I ended up with Gambit Robin, which is like, okay, I guess. But I read that comic. I didn't love it. I thought it was like a lot. However, while I was there, because I was like, well, I drove a half hour to get here, I might as well like pick up some other stuff. I picked up these Titan Comics Conan the Barbarian.
Very nice.
Which is, I got issues 25 and 26 here. And I will specifically recommend the Conan the Barbarian issue 25 Titan Comics because this story is like framed as like a kind of like a best hits episode. Like it references a lot of the old Robert E. Howard stories as like in like flashbacks and stuff. So it feels like a very cool kind of like, this is the Conan stuff. And because I've never read Conan comics before. And one of the things I was sort of hesitant about was like, how much did they like comic bookify him or like superheroify him? Just like the tone of the stories.
Yeah.
And these feel like they very much came from people who really liked the original like novellas and books and stuff.
Okay.
There's even there's even stuff in the back like where they like talk about the publishing history of these things and stuff. It's like really cool. It really feels like people trying to extend those original books into comic books rather than just be like, you know, making a Marvel comic book out of it. I don't know if the Marvel ones are like this too. Maybe they might be. I never thought they would be. I don't know. Maybe
this will be the start of a new Conan comic journey for you.
Honestly, I'm probably going to get these by volume, just like through Amazon or something. Pretty great. I would also recommend 26 because 26 it's one Conan story. But that one I also think like it's really self-contained. Like that's part of what I really liked about these is they felt very episodic as opposed to like super serialized. I think there are like longer form stories where it's like, you know, 1 out of 8 or whatever, but it seems like on an issue to issue basis, it's just like, here's Conan Adventure, go, which is cool.
Sounds really cool. I will jump in with my own comic rec real quick, which is I probably mentioned it already before, but Absolute Green Lantern is just keeps getting better and better. I think it kind of lulled in like issues 3 and 4. It's the first series that I've been buying month to month in like a long ass time, like probably 10 years. When was the last thing that I was buying month to month? I must have been in high school. Maybe like Batman 66, honestly, was probably the last thing that I was just buying every single month. And that was forever ago. Oh my God. I should find that collected song. Did they collect that? I don't even know. My mom got rid of all my comics. So I don't even remember which one I had.
Yeah.
But Absolute Green Lantern is so good. There's a lot. I don't know really what else is going on in the Absolute universe. I haven't read any of it aside from the first issue of Absolute Wonder Woman, which I thought was good. But I think it's such a cool opportunity for like existing mythology of characters to get like reinterpreted. So everything for Absolute Green Lantern is kind of like reinterpreted towards this like it's kind of like a Buddhist inspired like philosophy kind of
Mm,
element of like how the Green Lantern powers work, and like the idea that like each of the different like colors of light aren't like a spectrum, they're actually like a different level of like cosmic understanding that are associated with like certain traits. And it's like you'll see.
yeah.
You'll see if you check it out. But I have and they just turned a corner with not the most recent issue. Well, by the time we actually upload this, probably like 2 issues ago. But
Yeah.
I think it was issue 7 where they introduced, spoiler alert, they introduced Sinestro, and
Cool.
he just adds a whole new layer of like how to interpret like the new cosmology and like belief system of these characters. It's a little like kind of wacky and mind bending, but
Yeah.
in a way that I really really like.
It seems like Green Lantern, even more so than Wonder Woman, seem to like really take like we're just doing a whole new thing.
It is a
Yeah.
whole new thing. It
Yeah.
is it is it's Green Lantern in the way that there are familiar faces
Yeah.
and there are Green Lanterns, and
Yeah.
that is about it.
Yeah.
That's one of the very few nitpicks I have is like Hal Jordan is not Hal Jordan in this. He's a guy named Hal Jordan who wears like a bomber jacket,
Yeah.
and that's what Hal Jordan looks like. And I'm not mad about it, by the way. I'm just like,
Yeah. There's like an
you know,
expectation
as
if you're gonna do Hal Jordan to do Hal
right.
Jordan, right? Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but we've got Joe Mullane as like the main character, which is fine. I I like all the new Green Lanterns, and when
Yeah.
I say new Green Lanterns, I'm talking about Simon, Jessica, and Joe.
Yeah. Everyone
Um,
post 2000, right? So
Everyone post Kyle,
yeah.
but it's just a little frustrating for me because I was reading when Simon Baz got introduced, and I really liked him, and I
Yeah.
feel like, and I might be wrong about this. Like it could be like, Jay, you idiot, Simon Baz has been like the main character of Green Lantern Corps for 3 years, um, but like I feel like he hasn't really gotten the kind of screen time that some of the other new characters have gotten, and I feel like because Joe had like that cool like one shot Far Sector, which I need to read. I'm so sorry I haven't read that. I'll probably read Far Sector and I'll be like, I take it all back. Joe Mullane is the only Green Lantern who matters. But like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I like Simon Baz, and his story was so it's still relevant today.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right. Sorry, I wanted to do a quick comic recommendation, then I got kind of sidetracked. No Simon Baz in the Absolute Green Lantern series, by the way, which
Oh,
pisses me off.
still coming then. Still coming then.
I hope so.
Yeah. I mean, the Absolute Universe doesn't seem to have like a expiration date, so eventually somebody will get to him. Yeah.
I don't know. I think they're gonna wrap it up. Like it feels like this is all supposed to take like 2 to 3 years, and then they're gonna be done.
Yeah.
That's my prediction. Just based on like the way in which they are. This once again, I don't know how they're doing with the other stories, but with Green Lantern, it seems like they're telling one big story
Yeah.
as opposed to like setting up a character that can have multiple adventures. Like there's one central conflict and everything is about this like one idea.
Yeah.
I guess they could spin it off with like having them
It
fight like
almost
Hector
feels
Hammond and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But I
the
don't
way
know.
you described it almost feels more like manga based, where it's like
Yeah,
we're moving through one continuous
right.
progression. Yeah.
But once again, I mean, we're only 7 months in, which is, a little longer than a normal arc, because normally an arc would be like what, like 6 issues,
Yeah.
8 issues maybe. So we are kind of maybe I'm gonna be totally wrong, but it doesn't feel like this is intended to be a 10-year project. It feels like
Yeah.
this is intended to be 3 years max.
Yeah.
Probably 2.
Probably too. Yeah, so that brings us to a
That brings us
close.
to the outro. Bye.
Outro. Can't take the sky from me.